don't get any satisfying conclusion or resolution to Deku.
Ra. Ra. What is good, YouTube? It's Ash here. Today we're going to be reacting to Deku was no longer interesting, which is a crazy title, but I somewhat agree with it. Uh, it's kind of overpowered. There's a lot of more. Okay, there's a lot of more uh interesting characters in the series comparatively. He's just not that interesting. Uh, and yeah, I just feel like I don't know. He's kind of lost a lot of his charm from the earlier seasons. So I kind of agree with Aster. I'm not even gonna try and say that, but yeah, I kind of agree with this guy, and I want to see his points. So we're gonna watch this together. If you enjoy, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoy. All right, let's do it.
Izuku Midoriya has quickly gone from a nuanced
Check volume. Check volume.
character to somebody that struggles to hold any of my interest. He's a
Hmm.
character I have always had a soft spot for. I mean, just last month I made an entire video praising his character direction during the war.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched that on my own time. That was cool.
Throughout the story. So why is it then that a character I would have considered S tier in MHA now barely hangs on a maybe low B? Just like
S tier is crazy.
My Hero Academia's final act spoils it all. If you didn't watch my previous video, it would help you get some context for my complaints about Deku's current character trajectory. It's not necessary, however, it just helps. Also, do note that this video will have spoilers for the entire series, including the currently ongoing final arc. MHA.
Whatever. Yeah, spoiler. Yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I haven't read past the trader reveal and the portal scene, so I don't really know that much. But to be honest, I couldn't care less.
His final act opened up with Midoriya and his most self-destructive yet, completely obliterating his body to defeat Shigaraki, dehumanizing himself and viewing himself as only a vessel of one for all, grappling with the idea of saving a villain when two of his own predecessors do not support him.
I'm not gonna lie, looking back on it, I might need to rewatch the Gentle and Brava stuff because a lot of people say that some of their favorite villain in My Hero, which is crazy. But I want to get a new perspective on that. I don't know. Maybe there was something that I didn't see when I first watched it, but I'm just not gonna lie, that issue was so boring.
Time bomb known as the state of his arms about to go off. Finally, isolating himself from his friends and loved ones to go on a suicidal mission to hunt the League. Surely something so painfully and obviously set up couldn't miss. The villain hunt arc, or if you really like that, the Black
Vigilante.
Arc, that name is abysmal. And
I agree.
The final act in its entirety did a phenomenal job at completely and utterly destroying every single plotline of interest that was going in Midoriya's favor at this time.
Interesting. Okay, I want to see what his point is. That's a really hot take.
For the sake of structure, because I could complain about this for far too long, I'm going to break the following down into sections. Number 1, self-destructive behavior.
God, hold on. I hate the My Hero manga logo so much. It just looks like graphic design is my passion type ish, bro. That is just so bad.
Dehumanization. Number 3, empathy machine, and finally power progression. As
Wait, what is it?
For far too long, I'm going to break the following down into. Anyone watching the series? As mentioned in my previous video and easily observed by, I don't know,
anybody. Literally anybody.
Self-destructive behavior came to a head in PLW and Villain Hunt. It's a character trait of his that has been present since the very
PLW, nice, I like it.
In the war arc, when with all of his limbs broken, everyone fighting around him, and him single-handedly fighting Shigaraki, he still lays on the ground telling himself to stop being worthless. How do you solve such crippling lifelong issues of self-worth? Well, it's not something you can solve in a day, and a good place to start is to examine where it stems from. Remember when Midoriya was...
I really like the art on Deku in the scene, by the way, just off topic.
You know, a marginalized member of society that was constantly bullied by his childhood best friend and looked down upon as worthless by society? I don't know, that might just be important to figuring out where these issues come from. The bullying from Bakugo is a core reason for Midoriya's current mindset, something acknowledged by Bakugo himself in universe. One of the primary driving forces for his atonement arc, the guilt of contributing to his self-destructive behavior. Okay, we can now identify one of the root causes of his current mindset.
Okay.
The story has now geared up to address his self-destructive behavior. How does it solve it? It doesn't.
Let me move my mic wire. It keeps on pressing
Deku goes on a month-long rampage across Japan, looking for the League of Villains, slowly cutting off the people he's close to and shouldering the burden himself. But what happens after that?
Damn, that is just so hard in the manga. Anime too.
From his loved ones, Midoriya himself never...
By the way, for those that want to see my reaction episode 22 of My Hero, to be honest, I didn't really feel like editing it. I didn't have much to say or like do, so I'm gonna combine it with episode 15. And also, I was just busy over the weekend. Plus, I was editing the Attack on Titan video, which should be out by the time that this video is out. End card somewhere. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that just took like 3 days. I'm not gonna lie. All right, continue.
Never had a conscious thought about his situation. He thinks about other people, which is very in tune with his character, but even
Mm-hmm.
at his lowest, we never get any self-reflection on how he ended up here. Instead, being saved after being at the low point for, a chapter? That's really it? That's not even an entire episode in the anime. Being saved by
Nah,
his friends
I
is
agree.
inherently an issue, because Midoriya needed to stop shouldering the burden on his own. Let's ignore how the story retroactively proved him right for a second by having people get insta-get
Oh
burned on
wait,
his
let me
own.
see this.
Let's ignore
Whoa, what happened to Hado? Tamaki
how the
too?
story retroactively
Please tell me they're okay. And what the hell is going on here?
proved him right for a
Mirko, yeah, right.
second by having people get insta-gibbed in their fights.
Headshot,
Push that aside. Where the problem
Genus.
arises is that the core flaws of Deku's character that led him to self-isolating and destroying himself were never resolved. He was told that
Ah, that is
and
true.
to take a rest, but that acts only as a band-aid solution to his literal, lifelong systemic marginalization and unironic discrimination and being told he's worthless besides the literal last year. What instead happens is that we don't get any satisfying conclusion or resolution to Deku.
Ra. Ra. Or is it Ra? Ra? Ra. Oh, whatever.
Viewing himself as worthless. We don't get that long-awaited talk between Bakugo and Deku. What we get is a one-sided trauma dump from an abuser onto the victim, only for it to never be mentioned again, and for the abuser's behavior to never really change. The core
Spittin'.
of Midoriya's character is established on people's treatment of him when he was quirkless, and what should have been this gigantic cathartic moment between the two was instead reduced to a bath gag. What should have been a cathartic
Wait,
moment
what?
between All Might and Midoriya
Oh, I didn't get up to
where
that.
the two could have the chance to reflect on their self-destructive
Or that, probably
tendencies
either.
and borderline self-harm was reduced to a gag where Midoriya says he was as bad as he was because All Might wasn't there for him, which, fucking no. The cause
Yeah.
of self-harm was
Like what?
sideswiped, and the one person that could have deeply related to that behavior, something acknowledged in-universe, is also sideswept in favor of taking a fucking bath. The issue with Midoriya post-war is that he barely progresses. The villain hunt is like taking one step forward, and that's
And
kind
2
of
steps
it.
back.
Something we have witnessed about Midoriya since the
Oh,
beginning of the
okay.
series remains
Interesting.
logically unchanged, never having been addressed. Sure, he understands that he can't take on every villain from the league now, but let's be real, most of this still falls on Midoriya's shoulders. As the second he was removed from the plan, Bakugo instantly fucking died. We'll go further into this without going on to topic 2. Part of that lack of self-worth and self-destructive behavior culminates in the war arc and beyond, as Midoriya begins to perceive himself as a vessel of One for All and nothing more. He understands that One for All was made to defeat All for One, and he will fulfill that purpose no matter what happens to him. Him believing he has no value, and only finally perceiving that value as the power he was given. If you're watching this, you might be going, but Asa, this was solved. Class A came to tell him that they don't—
Oh, his name is Asa, this guy? That's what you said? Oh yeah, Asa. Oh, Asaratha? Like Asarath, Venture, and Zenthos from Teen Titans? Cool.
care about his power and only care about who he is, which, fair. However, this kind of loops back to the self-destructive behavior where his mental health issues weren't actually really addressed. He was told some kind words and brought back. Not that kind words don't help,
And
but
everything
what I enjoyed about
brushes
My
to
Hero
the side.
Academia is how it would demonstrate that deep-seated mental health issues or trauma can't be solved by kind words.
Yeah, I really like how they did this with Todoroki, and like they're still going in even into season 6, and then all this has started like 4 seasons ago too. Is it weird to say that Shoto might actually have better development than Midoriya? Nah, I think you could debate somebody on that pretty easily. I'm not gonna lie. Um, the last time Deku developed that I can think of off the top of my head right now is probably shoot style when he got that. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I'm sorry. I just genuinely cannot think of a other time besides that right now.
Words alone. Think of Shoto, who massively subverted the trope of a talk no jutsu that some people might have feared. Deku only jumpstarts Shoto's path of recovery, and it's still a path he must walk on his own, starting off by finally confronting a big part of his trauma, his mom. Midoriya isn't given any time to come to any conclusions himself or have his own thoughts.
Which is a part of the arc, but the problem is that they didn't really address it after, is what he's saying.
told he isn't his power, but never having a satisfactory
By part of the arc, I mean like the timing and like how quick everything goes by.
moment of, oh yeah, I'm my own human being. But let's just
Hmm.
take it, okay? Let's just accept that the conversation aided him, and he took his normal pills and he got better. Did he though?
Dude, I forgot the normal pills thing. That was from the Dream Mask song. I forgot the lyric that it said it in. Did it? No, that was a meme, right? No, I think it said normal pills in like the music video or something, but that wasn't actually a lyric. Okay. Wow, that just brought back some crazy PTSD. I'm just thinking of the freaking dream face crying right now.
After Villain Hunt, Midoriya has turned into a husk of his former self, with absolutely no introspection, incapable of any complex thought, apparently. If you read the final war arc, you will be hard-pressed to fight a
Yeah, you bet, Jiras. I'm reading all this. Hold on. Midoriya, first, what is it? I got a bad feeling. Is that Nejire? Because you inherited All Might's power. Fajin, boost binding combo, transmission, float, blast of courtesy. This ish goes hard, by the way. This 6 panel right here. Gear shift, adjust speed. Okay, yeah.
panel where Midoriya
Okay.
isn't thinking about one for all or all for one. Seriously, I'm
Wait, what'd he
no
say?
introspection, incapable of any complex thought, apparently. If you read the final war arc, you will be hard-pressed to find a panel where Midoriya isn't thinking about one for all or all for one. Seriously, I'm showing panels on screen that will likely be a majority of his screen time, and almost all of it is him thinking about one for all, with his encounter with Toga being probably the only exception. If your goal is to solve the dehumanization of your main character, making him feel even more dehumanized,
This looks like it's gonna go crazy in the anime. If it's not, well, it's gonna be Blue Sky. But I was about to say if it's not Blue Sky, but this is definitely Blue Sky. Saying that, what am I talking about?
is not the way to go about it. It's counterintuitive. It undermines the themes of the Villain Hunt arc, and makes the solution of Class 1A saving him just feel pretty shit. Especially when the way they solved this was right in front of the reader. Midoriya had his own path forward to make himself separate from All Might.
Yeah, Midoriya. Oh my gosh, bro. Man is packing. I mean, I'm not gay, but like you gotta acknowledge when another man is. You know what I'm saying?
To be the one who empathizes with villains and to try and address the root causes. He was gassed up to be this way, only to have that identity partially taken away from him and for him to become a one-for-all machine. It's especially ironic considering that he's supposed to be the one that addresses the root cause.
I like that term, one for all machine.
But he won't think for himself about what's happening to himself. He isn't only a one-for-all machine, but he's also.
Empathy machine.
Calling him this might seem weird considering that this is like his thing since the beginning. I'm not intending to criticize his trait of being empathetic, because I find it commendable and used to really enjoy this part of him, but that's the thing. His empathy used to be a part, not the
Yeah,
whole.
goofy run,
He
bro.
still felt empathy for people like Bakugo with the sludge villain, or Shoto despite wanting to beat him, or Shigaraki despite not forgiving his actions and still wanting him to suffer the consequences. Ever since this goddamn bath, any and all nuance has been stripped from his character. His self-destructive behavior disappeared. The dehumanization of himself stopped mattering. He lost the ability to form negative emotions, and he lost nearly all character relationships outside of Ochako, despite Hori dropping some absolute
Yo, that's sad, man. Bro, this series is falling off so much. Wow, that's really sad. That last part hit me. The losing all character relationships thing.
how much it neutered Midoriya going forward, turning this nuanced victim of hero society into one for all. As mentioned previously, Act 1 Midoriya would want to save people even if he had other goals. He would get mad, he would feel conflicted, he would beat himself up over things, but currently, Midoriya seems genuinely incapable of having nuanced feelings about things. There are two primary examples. Bakugo, which sounds ironic considering I mentioned him earlier, and Aoyama. Bakugo...
Wait, what? Wait, why did mute? I wonder what key pressed mute that.
Ironic considering I mentioned him earlier, and Aoyama.
What you did was unforgivable, but back there at your money. Yo. Oh my gosh. This was a Shigaraki, right? Yeah, that was a Shigaraki thing.
Bakugo and Midoriya's relationship used to feel somewhat nuanced and enjoyable until the aforementioned lack of official acknowledgement of how much harm Bakugo had done to him. And then we get the apology, which... yeah. Bakugo's apology of how much harm Bakugo had done to him. And then we get the apology, which... yeah.
Why is that so well animated, by the way? Normalize being a sleepyhead. It's okay to be a little tired. Nap. It's like that.
Bakugo's apology for Bakugo is really good. But this isn't a video about Bakugo. Like I said a couple sections ago, this is the abuser trauma dumping onto the victim, and Midoriya is left to just fall asleep or something. We never get a conversation between these two where Midoriya gets to actually do any talking. He never gets to tell Bakugo how he made him feel, to reflect on their relationship. He never gets the opportunity.
There's never an actual conversation, right?
Feels before ultimately forgiving Bakugo. He just forgives and he forgets, without a single thought of his own along the way. I mean shit. When Bakugo apologizes to him, he literally airs his ass before falling asleep. This loss of nuance is also felt through Aoyama. Aoyama was indirectly responsible for a lot. He
Yep.
aided and abetted terrorists numerous times, leading to some of Midoriya's most traumatizing and dangerous moments. Without Aoyama, Aizawa would have had stronger eyes. Without Aoyama, Bakugo wouldn't have been kidnapped, leading to All Might's downfall and Bakugo's own self. Without
Yo.
Aoyama, Midoriya wouldn't have put his arms on the brink of pure destruction. Surely when Midoriya finds out that his classmate had put him in harm's way, he could have some sort of, at least, negative initial reaction. Instead of these things flashing through his mind and having this rewarding scene of Midoriya still deciding that Aoyama is worth saving, he isn't given the opportunity to think for himself. He isn't given the chance to be nuanced, to be upset about what happened to him, and the only instance we have of that
If I'd known, maybe things would have worked out differently. Doing wrong doesn't make you a villain for the rest of your life.
is after Bakugo died, where he was about to prove
Rest
even
in
more
peace.
that this arc is a copy-paste of PLW. Instead of coming to grips with what has happened and understanding that repeating his mistakes won't get him anywhere, he has to be calmed down by a janitor. It's a recurring trend where
Yeah,
character moments are
janitor
taken
is
from
crazy.
Midoriya and given to someone else. He doesn't get to think about how he ended up here and snap out of his own rage moment. Mirio gets to.
Well, Melee really is a janitor, though, isn't he?
Given to someone else. He doesn't get to think about how he ended up here and snap out of his own rage moment. Mirio gets to. He doesn't
Bro rages again. Okay, whatever.
get to think about the effects of being a quirkless person in this society. Aoyama does, and Bakugo, of all fucking people, gets to make a comment about quirkless people instead of Midoriya. This is especially awful considering the bath in 327.
Most things in the world can be solved by a good bath. Okay.
Had completely eroded his relationships with other characters. Mirio being used as a foil for Midoriya is basically never brought up again. Midoriya never has a single thought about him coming back, grappling with the feeling, even when in Villain Hunt. Midoriya never has a single thought about his relationship with Bakugo, and they effectively stop interacting post-Villain Hunt. We get no satisfying conclusion to Midoriya abandoning All Might, instead having it turned into a gag, and they effectively stop interacting post-Villain Hunt. The kid who felt bad that his friend might have
For
lied to him
real?
about having extra quirks, finding out he does indeed have extra quirks, pretty much never gets spoken about again, as they stop interacting post-Villain Hunt.
True.
The reason Midoriya has stopped being interesting to me
God damn, this is really sad. This is sad to watch.
is due to this lackluster addressing of his self-destructive behavior, his dehumanization, and the absolute lack of character and flanderization of his empathy post-Villain Hunt. But unfortunately, that isn't where my problems with Midoriya end.
Power
The title of this
progression.
section might lead you to believing this is some power scaling stuff, but it's really not. I don't care about the power scaling itself. It's more so that Midoriya's power progression was a big part of his character. A through line that we followed throughout the first 5 seasons of My Hero Academia. Something that deeply connected us to Deku's
Oh yeah, 5
was
too,
his
because
adjustment
Black
to
Whip
having
and
a
stuff.
quirk after a life of, well, not having one. It took the kid 3 seasons to utilize 8% of his power, and that is something we witnessed every step of the way. We saw him go from blowing himself to bits to utilizing his fingers and still blowing them to bits, to feeling this huge amount of satisfaction as he reins in 5% of his power. We see him develop as a fighter, learn that he doesn't have to fight like All Might, coming up with his own fighting style and progressing more and more, unlocking stuff like Air Force and being able to use up to 20%, and seeing him come crashing down when Black Whip explodes, basically making him feel like he has regressed. There is a point though where this is lost, where the disconnect begins between Midoriya and the viewer. At some point, Midoriya learns something about One for All that we don't, and we're kept in the dark until the absolute last arc. When we find out about Float, he simultaneously learns about all the other quirks he will have access to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I actually hated that. I think, like, it just didn't feel special. Like, I read the manga for Villain Hunt arc, and, like, it was, like, last year. And in the anime, I watched it, and it was, like, I was surprised and confused. Because he, like, unlocked Fajin. I was like, what the hell? Didn't he just get a quirk, like, last episode? And he just acts like, oh, yeah, I know how to use this. It's, like, and it's just, like, never brought up. It was so weird. I thought I'd, like, missed an episode or something. Like, there was no context. He just starts pulling quirks out of his butt out of nowhere. Like, I don't know, man.
We, the viewer, have zero clue, and for the first time, we don't know what Midoriya is working towards or what to expect. To make matters worse, Midoriya goes from
Wait, what?
time we
Season
don't know
5,
what
are you
Midoriya is
serious?
working towards or what to expect.
Did they really freeze frame Midoriya and Bakugo moving mid smear frame?
To
What?
make matters worse, Midoriya goes from taking months and months to use 8% of his power consistently to having already mastered Black Whip and leveling up from 8 to 30% in one big time skip. On its own, I could probably forgive that, but it's not the only thing. This painstaking power progression we had witnessed from him was now entirely off-screen. as he had been training for float, which is shown to us through a flashback. He completely understands Fojin and has almost no struggle
Yep.
using it. Any threat that Danger has seemingly posed
Hated
was
that
fixed
so
off
much.
screen, and Gear Shift alongside Fojin exists to speed boost him to 100% and beyond. The end of Act 2 and all of Act 3 marked the start of our disconnect with Midoriya, as we were slowly separated from his power progression and then who he is as a person and his relationships. One of the most damning parts are his arms, something that was unbelievably instrumental in his early growth.
Yep.
They served as a Chekhov's gun of sorts, something always ticking down, and every
Damn, oh my god, that hat hurt so bad.
It was why he had developed shoot style. It was why he had arm braces on his costume to begin with. It was why he made this vow to himself to never use 100% again. And it was why Deku vs. Shigaraki was dripping with tension, only for the story to take that Chekhov's gun off the table and offer a very reasonable explanation, but it's yet another thing that takes away from Midoriya's character. Just because something makes sense doesn't mean it's good writing. I'm gonna say something because when you criticize anime
True. I like this image, that's funny.
or characters in fiction, people get very pressed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something because when you criticize anime or characters in fiction, people get very pressed. None of what I'm talking about in this video is objective. These are my own subjective dislikes about Midoriya's character, and if you disagree, it's perfectly fine. I don't think his flaws were properly addressed. I think he has lost nearly everything that made him interesting. He has lost all meaningful character relationships, and the disconnection of his power progression is the final nail in the coffin. For all the people who don't get why I rate Midoriya so low, hopefully this helps. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video,
thanks to all
like,
these
comment, subscribe
decorators.
for the funny YouTube algorithm. You can check the description down below to follow me on Twitter, where I'm objectively correct all the time. You can also join my Discord, where we talk about My Hero Academia,
That was hard.
Kaisen and stuff like that. And you can also now become a YouTube member, which basically just gives.
Yeah, go sub to this guy. Wait, let me see. More contrivances. Interesting. Curious to see what he has to say, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sitting through all that. Yeah, that was tough. WVid, man. What? Alright, I'm just gonna address this because I know somebody might. Bro, I swear I don't look this stuff up. I don't know why this is here. If you guys are having similar ad pop-ups, then please tell me, because I can't be that damn bad, bro. Right? Like they're not listening to me, right? I mean, I hope so. That would be cool. Wow. Yeah, that was a really good video, but that was pretty sad to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna end the recording. Gotta edit this. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy. Video link in the description. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Peace.